Thanks for joining me for this edition of the Author's Corner, brought to you by KNEO 91.7 FM The Word. I'm Roberta Foster, and today I welcome Kristen Jensen back to Author's Corner. Last week we spoke with her about her books that was specifically designed toward girls. This week we have two of her books that she wrote prior that are still with the same title, Good Pictures, Bad Pictures. One of them is called Porn-Proofing Today's Young Kids, with more emphasis on boys. And another one that is Good Pictures, Bad Pictures Junior, a simple plan to protect young minds. And so these books are illustrated by Debbie Fox and published by Defend Young Minds. And Kristen, welcome back to Author's Corner.
It's great to be back with you, Roberta. Thank you.
Well, you have been a busy woman writing these books, so why don't you tell us what it was that led you to get involved in doing this?
Yeah, what's a nice girl like me writing books about pornography? Well, what happened was we moved to a new town, and I met a woman. She had a large family. She was really trying to protect them from, being sexually molested, because she was as a child.
Okay.
But she came to find out that her 17-year-old son was sexually molesting the younger brothers and sisters, from the 14-year-old down to the 4-year-old.
Oh.
And pornography was definitely really fueling that. So she talked with me. She told me one night about it. We talked till like 1:30 in the morning. And the next morning I woke up and I just felt compelled to find a resource for her so that she could, read a book to her children to warn them about pornography. And I couldn't find anything. I was shocked. I knew there were all kinds of body safety books. Couldn't find anything. Had the crazy idea to write a book for children, a read-aloud book that parents could read to their children, to warn them, to give them a simple definition, age-appropriate definition, a warning, and a plan. So a definition, a warning, and a plan. And so I got started writing Good Pictures, Bad Pictures. Thought it would take me a couple weeks in the summer, but guess what? It took me 3 years. Had a lot of help along the way. And now we're on the second edition of Good Pictures, Bad Pictures. And it's been a #1 bestseller on Amazon, and it is translated into probably a dozen or more languages all over the world. So it's exciting that it's helping so many parents out there.
So describe to us what your core purpose of these books are.
It's to make it easy for a parent to begin these conversations, these protective conversations around pornography at an early enough age that it actually makes a difference.
Okay.
Because if you wait till they're 13 or 14 or 15, you're going from prevention to intervention, right?
Right, right.
So I could see that young children were getting into this because they were getting into the internet, and not many people were seeing the problems with that. There are no iron gates, right?
Right.
And they were sneaking into porn sites. They were getting it through social media apps. They were, getting it through video games. So many portals to porn, and we just weren't protecting. We protect kids against alcohol and tobacco. You can't send an 8-year-old to buy beer at the corner store anymore. But 8-year-olds can get onto the internet and see things that they absolutely shouldn't be seen, that are sexually traumatizing to them, and have long-lasting effects. So this is prevention, right? This is my way to help parents who have no idea how to start this, just have a simple read-aloud book that teaches a child, a simple definition that's age-appropriate, and then gives them a warning. So this is how it can affect your brain and how it can potentially become an addiction that could, basically trap you. And then here's the plan. So you know exactly what to do. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah.
We're going to help you through this, and here's the plan. And I have so many stories of parents reading Good Pictures, Bad Pictures to their children. And this one, really, back then, I was also kind of under the myth that it was more of a boy problem. And so this is more geared towards boys. The main character is a boy, and it has more boy-friendly analogies, I guess is what I would say. Yeah, so that is the reason, that was the purpose, is to overcome the barrier.
Yeah.
Because parents, even social workers that, and therapists that deal with these problems didn't know how to talk to their own children about pornography. How do you even begin that conversation? So that's kind of what I figured out, and I had a lot of help along. If I have any genius, Roberta, it's picking people to help me, getting people to help me do these hard things.
Okay, today I'm talking with Kristen Jensen regarding her books, Good Pictures, Bad Pictures. One of them is for junior, for the youngest minds, and the other is actually focused more for boys. So there's a book, and last week we talked about the book that was a guide for girls. So there's a book in this Good Pictures, Bad Pictures series for every age and both genders. And so we really appreciate Kristen sharing her heart with our listeners today. So one of the things that I picked up with our conversations is that you are doing this to help kids feel empowered rather than afraid. Taking a subject that's not very comfortable to talk about and being able to do it in a way that there's no shame, but it actually makes the child feel stronger after reading it than they were before.
Absolutely. And I have a story that really helps demonstrate that.
Great.
And there was a little boy in his third grade. His mom read him Good Pictures, Bad Pictures, so that he would be prepared. And 3 days later, he goes to school, and on the playground, one of his classmates comes up to him with a smartphone and shows him pornography. So he recognizes it. He understands it's not good for him to look at it. And when he goes home, he turns away. And when he goes home, he tells his mom. And often kids will, maybe not the moment they walk in the door, but when you're tucking them into bed and having those kind of very private conversations is when they'll open up. And he opened up and he said, Mom, this happened. And he says, I was scared, but I knew what to do.
Yeah.
I was scared, but I knew what to do. Can you just feel the burden coming off of his little shoulders? So that's what every kid deserves, is to know what to do when they are shown pornography, when they stumble upon it, accidentally. They know what to do to protect their mind and their brain. And it's so empowering. So, yes, don't be scared, be prepared, right?
We've talked about this last week, but at the same time, let's go over it again for our new listeners. The books are created in a story format, and as I understand it, they're designed for the parent to sit with the child and read through it. And tell us what you have at the end of each chapter. Yeah.
At the end of each chapter, it's called Let's Talk, and there's a little summary of the principles and the information that was presented in the story. And then there are, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions that will, and a place to write out your answers. So the child can actually write out their answers. You can discuss it with them. And it really helps to solidify in their mind and deepen their understanding of what you just read in the chapter. And as I said before, this is a kind of like a script for parents And it models a parent being proactive in a calm way, presenting the science, presenting the truth and the facts, and helping their child understand the harmful consequences of looking at pornography and using it. So we've got several chapters on the thinking brain and the feeling brain and how they work together. You have a chapter called the attraction center. We don't explicitly talk about sex in any of these books, but we do in kind of a roundabout way talk about an attraction center in the brain that is really the most vulnerable part when it comes to pornography. And then we give them a plan, the can-do plan. So this can-do plan is, 5 steps. The first 3 are, what they should do when they see it. When they're exposed, close your eyes, always tell a trusted adult, name it. And all those are explained more in detail in the book, but are based on science and neuroscience and really what works. To what you're trying to do is bring that thinking brain online, right? Because when you see a bad picture, it's your feeling brain that's like, wah, lit up. But when you can bring your thinking brain online, then you have more power. And that's what those steps are designed to do. And then the final 2 steps, the D and the O, stand for distract yourself and order your thinking brain to be the boss. And we discuss in detail in the book how to forget, basically, those pictures or minimize them so that they don't bother the child. They don't keep popping up. And I'm pretty good at avoiding pornography, but even I have been caught off guard. So I have used the same method, and it works. It does take a little practice and guidance, but it works.
Wonderful. Okay, so one last question. How is pornography associated with poor mental health?
Oh, my goodness. There are so many studies now that show how they are linked. When people get any addiction, really, that lowers their mental health. But pornography as an addiction, they see an association with greater amounts of depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, loneliness. They see higher suicide rates among people that use pornography. And then it becomes, for some, kind of like a cycle. So some people are depressed, then they go to pornography to try to distract them, and then they're more depressed, then they go back to pornography, and it's just this downward cycle.
Wow.
So there's a lot of, I've given presentations at international conferences on this very topic. So we need to help children guard their mental health by keeping them safe and helping them, have digital defense skills against, pornography. And, and that needs to start early, because I've heard of 3-year-olds, unfortunately, being terribly harmed by viewing pornography and imitating it. And so that's why that junior book is so important, that is for ages 3 to 7.
Okay.
And Roberta, I've read these books to my grandson starting at age 2.5. There are these little cameras that they love to find, little hidden cameras. It's much simpler. There's a turn, run, tell plan, and all these hidden cameras that they can find.
Yeah.
And but it's a simple structure, same thing, a simple definition, a warning, and a plan. Because any time a child has any access to the internet or even an app on a device, they need a gentle warning so that they know what to do whenever they see a bad picture.
Wonderful. So today I've been talking with Kristen Jensen about her books from the Good Pictures, Bad Pictures series, one for juniors and one for boys. Last week we talked about the book specifically designed for girls. Kristen, how can our readers find out more about these books and stay connected with you?
We are on social media, Defend Young Minds. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and other social media platforms. You can go to our website. You can download. We have several free guides that you can download, and You'll be on our email list. We send out an email every week just to help parents. We want to walk with you, and we want to support you little by little, week by week, in this very courageous journey that you're on, raising children in the digital age. So you can definitely find out about the books and everything from our website, defendingminds.com. And the books are all available on Amazon. And we actually have a book for therapists that has interventions for treating children who have been harmed by pornography called Good Pictures, Bad Pictures, Guide for Counseling Kids.
Wonderful.
So got lots of resources available for parents and professionals.
Wonderful. So one more time, the books today are from the Good Pictures, Bad Pictures, I call it a series. They're all sold individually. You have one for juniors, one for boys, and one for girls. And so, Kristen, thank you for sending these books our way and for your time talking with our listeners today.
Thank you, Roberta. I really appreciate it.
And to our listeners, if you missed any part of today's interview or would like to hear it again, and also the one that was from last week, you can find it on your favorite podcast platform or go through kneo.org. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Roberta Foster on the Author's Corner. Join me again next time.